Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, please make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're able to be a little more explicit, a little more uncensored, and share content freely without running the risk of having our channel terminated. So, once again, make sure you head on down to Instagram and follow us on our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. Now let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, the YouTube world has been in an uproar ever since finding out that one of the most known Chicago drill YouTubers themselves, that goes by the moniker Trenches News, was a government informant the whole time of his YouTube career. And not just any informant. Federal court documents will reveal that he was a long-time government informant and explain that he has been working with the feds for decades. Which means that if you had any type of illegal dealings with Swiper, aka Trenches News, in the span of the last 10 to 20 years, you better be somewhere wondering if you're next. And y'all should have known something wasn't right when the man called himself Swiper but spelled it with 2 P's, making it Swipper. Alright, but on a serious note, the whole time he was going live and making videos about criminal activities, including murders and unsolved homicides, the man was working with the feds. Keep in mind that in the coming months leading up to the trial, as documents will come out about the cooperators within the case, they would describe someone that appeared to be a lot like Trenches News, and once people got suspicious, social media began asking questions. Now, at the time, Trenches would stand his ground and let it be known that he wasn't testifying in the case, and had over 100,000 of his subscribers believe that he had no involvement in FBG Duck's case. Although, when he was asked about it by interviewers, Trenches would never give a direct answer, and maybe that's because we now learned that not only was he a government informant, but he was a paid informant that received up to $25,000 for the information he had given to law enforcement. And if y'all wondering if Trenches was pressured into cooperating in any way, shape, or form, that was never the case, as reports would state that Trenches voluntarily called them a day after FBG Duck passed away, offering information and doing anything he can to help with their investigation. And to think about it now that I look back, if y'all remember Trenches' tweets and Facebook posts when everything first happened to FBG Duck, from observation, you could tell that Trenches News was willing to do any and everything it took to get back at those who killed his friend Carlton Weekly, aka FBG Duck. I will post one of the tweets, but I can't find them anymore, and the posts I did find on Reddit, they deleted it. Now, Tay Savage would respond to the Trenches news of being a cooperator, as everyone and their mother did on social media. And honestly, I think everyone is mainly shocked, not just off the fact that he cooperated, but more so we're seeing someone who we thought was real, and the whole time he was put in place just to cause confusion and cooperate. Now, we've seen in movies how the government put people in places to infiltrate certain organizations. We know they put plants in certain circles to get information and get people to tell, but to actually witness it on a broad scale on social media the way we have, people are actually amazed. Because I'm more than sure that if people didn't see it for themselves, majority of them would be calling it a conspiracy theory right now. Right? I guaranteed you, if these documents never came out and someone told y'all they knew for a fact that that man is cooperating with the feds, majority of y'all wouldn't believe them, calling them a conspiracy theorist. But once again, if you need any sort of references to how the feds and CIA do things like this all the time, all you have to do is look into the stories of Donnie Brasco or Fred Hampton. The feds were able to infiltrate the mob with the use of Donnie Brasco's story and was able to do the same thing with the Black Panthers and the Fred Hampton story. So we do know that these events do occur and it's not a myth. But anyway, Tay Savage would respond to the news that came out about Trenches News, as he would take to his Instagram story to repost a Say Cheese post explaining how the blogger accepted $25,000 and also posted a picture of William ONeal, who I'll explain who he is later. Now, in the caption of the post, Tay Savage will say, quote, "This why I push peace. Sad emoji, the street's over. Broken heart emoji." And I'm glad that at least Tay sees it and is spreading the word amongst his fan base to pretty much leave the streets alone, right? I've said it plenty of times. We're living in a time where the streets are no longer the streets that we know from before. There's no morals, no code of ethics, no principles, no values, no nothing. It was a time where dudes would think a million times before saying a word to police because they knew the consequences that came behind it. And that outweighed any other consequence that the police could bring. I mean, at least with the police, you probably go to jail, do a little bit of time, whatever the case may be. But street justice will come with guys killing either you or your whole family just to send a message to you, and that hurts way more than any type of jail time that the police could give you. However, these days, guys are singing more than Whitney Houston at the halftime at the Super Bowl. Keep in mind, the police ain't playing fair neither because they offering guys now $20,000 to $25,000 to cooperate. And most of these guys are killing and throwing their lives away for free anyway. So just imagine what they'll do for a little $20,000. And this is why we got the end results that we now have at this moment. Now, when it comes to William ONeal, for the people who are unaware who that is, William ONeal was a black man that was used by the FBI as an informant, almost similar to Trench's News, right? In Chicago as well, back in 1969, he helped them infiltrate the Black Panther Party, giving them all types of intel and led them to assassinate Fred Hampton, who they've been trying to take down but couldn't get close to because he was way too clever. But they knew that by using one of our own people against us, that'd be the way to get Fred, as a young 20-year-old was way too wise to let them get close to him. But they knew that by using one of our own people against us, that'd be the only way to get Fred, and it worked, as William ONeal served as one of the heads of the Fred Hampton security personnel. Now, quick history on one of the reasons why Fred Hampton was assassinated so you can understand why Chicago would never stand a chance of coming together. Is because there's too much corruption at the forefront involving the powers that actually control things in Chicago. Now, in a nutshell, Fred was a threat because simply his aim was to stop the violence from happening in Chicago and bringing everybody together, and the police knew that Fred was a strong enough individual to do so. So in 1969, when Fred was working on a project called the Rainbow Coalition, it was aimed to have all the gangs within the black communities of Chicago come together. But as I always tell y'all, destruction is beneficial to certain people, and this is why every time someone is successful in trying to unite us or encourage us to come together, they're somehow killed, jailed, or publicly crucified. Keep in mind that Fred Hampton never committed a crime, but the only thing he'll be guilty of was his power to promote unity amongst gangs that threaten the FBI for whatever reason. You would think that if he got everybody coming together, wouldn't that be easier for the police or law enforcement and they would agree to do something like that? No. They not only threatened Fred Hampton to stop, but they would raid offices belonging to the Black Panthers, and when that didn't work, they proceeded to burn them down. Fred Hampton would continue, and that's when they took it to another notch as his power and message continued to grow. ONeal was instructed by the feds to give them a complete layout blueprint of Hampton's apartment where other Panthers oftenly would meet at. So on December 3rd, 1969, after Fred came home from teaching the church amongst other Black Panthers, him, William ONeal, and a few others would go back to Fred's apartment and ate food that was prepared by William ONeal. ONeal would slip an anesthetic-like drug with hypnotic properties into Fred Hampton's drink, so when police raided his house, he wouldn't be able to respond and try to escape or give chase of any sort. He left shortly after. Around 1:30 in the morning, Fred would be speaking to his mother on the phone and fell asleep in the process. 3 hours later, at 4:45 in the morning, a 14-armed man Chicago police unit barged into Fred's apartment. They would immediately shoot his security guard, Mark Clark, who was sitting in the first room with a shotgun on his lap. Then they got everyone else out of the apartment, but shot others in the process. Despite stories by the police, witnesses who was there say that as soon as police entered Hampton's bedroom where he was sleeping under the drug given to him, they heard instantly 2 shots ring off. Those 2 shots were bullets Hampton received to the back of the head as he laid face down, which witnesses believe was close range. Now get this. In January of 1970, it was ruled by a coroner's jury that both Fred Hampton and his security's death was justifiable homicide, whereas people were left confused, being that Fred Hampton was asleep at the time of his death. Not to mention, if he was shot twice in the back of his head, that would mean that if he was alive, he was trying to get away, or he was defenseless. Either way, Fred Hampton was shot twice in the back of his head. On top of that, ballistic reports proved that Chicago police fired a total of 99 shots when they arrived in the apartment, while only 1 was fired by the Panthers, which they found out later the bullet hit the ceiling. Now I know it was a lot, y'all, but I think a lot of us need to know our history before we are even shocked at anything that happens these days or dismiss them from being true, being that we don't think that they are able to happen. History tells us a lot, and if we knew our history more, we will understand why a lot of things happening today aren't new, and will understand why they are happening. They say you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from, right? So that's pretty much it, man. I know we got off topic, but hopefully for the ones who didn't know who Fred Hampton or William ONeal was, this may have helped a little bit and probably sparked someone to do their own research and see what's going on in this world. It's a crazy world. It is ironic that William ONeal and Fred Hampton and their whole story took place in Chicago, and then you see this happening that took place in Chicago as well. But as you can see, the corruption and cover-ups on minorities in Chicago that's happening now just goes to show that it been happening before. So this ain't nothing new. But make sure y'all like this video, man. I hope y'all learned some. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.